Decision by the Supreme Court in Georgia has turned DUI enforcement in our state on its head and is really a radical change in the way police can enforce DUI laws here in Georgia. Let me show you what this decision means. Georgia has an implied consent law. Under this law, you as a driver driving on the roads of Georgia have implicitly given your consent to submit to a breathalyzer when police suspect you of driving under the influence. In the past, police have relied upon this law to compel people to submit to a breathalyzer test, and those results are then used against them in court in their DUI cases. Today's decision now prohibits police from forcing drivers to take that test, much like you can't be forced to incriminate yourself. But drivers who don't take the test can still have their licenses administratively suspended for that refusal. Let's bring in our think tank to talk about this radical Supreme Court decision. We have joining us a couple of great guests tonight. Cory Yager is a former police officer, but has been a criminal defense attorney for a number of years at Cohn and Yager. Great to see you, Cory.
Good to meet you.
Also, Lawrence Zimmerman from our dream team, criminal defense attorney up in Cobb. Let me start with this. If anyone knows that it's voluntary and you know you've been drinking, you're not going to blow into the breathalyzer, right?
No, Vinny, because it doesn't change. The refusal law is still a refusal law, so you can still lose your license for a year. So you still have to worry about that civil penalty. This is the criminal side of it.
What happens at that scene when someone refuses to blow into the breathalyzer?
Well, the police officer's got a couple of choices, right? He can take that refusal, which in and of itself can be used as evidence, or he can go one step further. He can go down and take the person before a neutrally detached magistrate, a judge, and he can get a search warrant.
If the clock is ticking, right, and we're talking about a blood alcohol content, the longer it takes to get that test and those results, the more room you as a defense attorney have to dispute those results, right?
Well, it's not necessarily, because for blood, it doesn't dissipate as fast as it does for taking a breath test. But this isn't about me as a defense lawyer. This is about Georgia citizens and the Constitution. And the Supreme Court is saying this must be done to protect you, the suspect, when you are pulled over for DUI. This has nothing to do with us lawyers. I get we may be able to work around this, maybe help our clients a little bit more. This is about the Constitution. The Supreme Court has made that ruling.
But doesn't this just help the drunk citizens and not the sober citizens?
You know, that's the same police officer, the same argument that police officers use until they become a suspect, until they're involved in a deadly physical force situation, or until they're involved in something personally. And the first person they're going to call is a defense attorney to protect their rights using that same Constitution. So does it protect the drunk driver? Yeah, it protects them. It gives them the same constitutional protections that everyone else gets. It doesn't give them more.
Why should we be protecting drunk drivers?
Because they are citizens of the state. And what this does is it makes sure that the state, the government, follows the rules before they take away your liberty and your privileges.
But you're not just protecting drunk drivers. You're protecting every single one of us, because there's plenty of people that could be falsely accused. You guys did a story a month and a half ago about how police officers pulling over people accusing them of marijuana, and there's no such thing. You guys did a whole piece on that for a month. So you as a citizen have a right to refuse the government's intrusiveness. Let them go get a warrant. That's all you're doing. That's what the framers intended by the Constitution. That's what Georgia is saying. This isn't protecting drunk drivers. This protects every single one of us. When this drunk driver's case may get kicked because the Constitution is violated, it tells the police that next time they better follow the law, because it may be you who's innocent, but follow the law, do it right, and that's the issue.
But what do you say to the parents of somebody who's lost their child because of a drunk driving accident?
I'm not here to talk about, what am I going to say to a drunk, sorry, your child died. That's something terrible. This is an issue about the Constitution. That has nothing, that is apples and oranges. And excuse me, it's just a different situation.